Welcome to this Wednesday's 3 Good Minutes. This week and the next time I do a 3 Good Minutes, I'm going to talk in 2 parts on how to care for someone. One thing that I know about our church is that our folks are in the caring business. I probably should say ministry instead of business. We are in the caring ministry. For a small congregation, we are mighty. We've supplied the United Methodist Outreach Mission with labor, meals, and supplies through the years. We've sponsored folks coming into the country. We've donated foods to be distributed through Vista del Camino's food pantry. Recently, we've retired over $300,000 worth of medical debt. We've readied underprivileged children for school with backpacks and school supplies. We've adopted families for Thanksgiving and Christmas, bought heifers. The list goes on and on. We've also cared for one another through life's both joyous and difficult seasons. I've been joined by other parishioners in hospital waiting rooms when one of the flock is undergoing surgery or other procedures. The presence of our church family is powerful for the family members of the one going through medical procedures. Sometimes, though, we don't know how to respond when one of our friends or family members is going through difficulty. I recently read a Patheos article which gives 10 pointers that I would like to share with you both today and during my next 3 Good Minutes in 2 weeks. I'll present 5 pointers today and 5 later this month that address how to care for someone when you know that you simply can't fix the problem. Number 1, call. It's okay to say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you. What do you need? How can I support you? Sometimes our very human tendency is to avoid unpleasant situations, but our faith literally calls us to run to the fire and see how we can help. Number 2, if calling doesn't feel right because you think someone might be resting or is having difficulty talking or is too exhausted to talk, then number 2 is to send a card or a text message. I had an aunt who was not only hard of hearing, but was too exhausted in her final days to talk on the phone. But she was enjoying the text messages that were coming in. Number 3 is to take food, but maybe appoint a coordinator to help avoid an overflow of, say, lasagna. Also, be aware of any dietary restrictions, likes and dislikes. It can get stressful for the receiver to have to throw things away that aren't appropriate. I remember a well-meaning person who brought by a pork chop casserole when my mom was very ill and our family was intent on avoiding red meat. It was stressful for her, as one who never liked to waste anything, to have to dispose of that casserole. Taking food is a way to nourish and affirm life, so that's why it's almost instinctive and wholesome to share it during an illness and in the aftermath of someone's passing. Number 4 is to take the person something to read. Hopefully you will know the person's taste in reading materials. Reading, of course, can be a good distraction. And number 5 is to empathize, but not to share horror stories. In fact, it's best to stay focused on the other person and not to relate too much about any, albeit similar, struggle you ever had, unless you really think it would be helpful for the other person and you can fit it into 10 seconds. That used to be my rule of thumb. In other words, it's best to keep self-disclosure to a minimum and keep the focus on the person you are attending to. Okay, that's enough for today. Next week we will talk about 5 more ways to support friends and loved ones during life's difficult seasons. In the meantime, let us be Christ to one another. Amen.